forward. Okay. Let's take roll call because I'm worried we might not have a quorum tonight.
Okay, Trish.
Present.
I'm here. Sandra.
Here.
Lynette.
Here.
Larry.
Here, present.
Jan.
Here.
Deborah.
Present.
Okay, James will be late. Yael.
I'm here.
Tim will not be here and Jim Stanfield will not be here. So that's 8. So we have a quorum.
Okay, good. Good. Just wanted to make sure on that. So we're letting everybody in. So tonight we do actually have a short agenda, and I don't have any chairman's announcements, except for I'm very grateful that you all could make it tonight. So does the council members have any announcements tonight?
No, but I have a comment about the information that was put on the website from the trees and landscape. I haven't finished looking at that entire presentation, but it looks really great. Good information. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Cindy, our member Cindy. She put it together based on our work, but she did a great job. Yes, thank you. I wish she was here, but she's not here.
Can you tell us what is on the Tree and Landscape website?
Oh, a lot.
Well,
Gosh, we have so much there.
I know. Let's talk about it when we get down to the
It's huge.
Okay.
Yes.
County and local agency reports. Sergeant Langston, are you here tonight? I did not see him.
I don't see him.
No. Okay. All right. Let's go to Captain Klingenberg.
I just asked to unmute. There we go.
Good evening. Thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me come and give my report. For Los Osos for the month of October, we made 3 DUI arrests. We had a total of 7 collisions. 2 of those collisions were DUI related collisions. And then for the beats that include Los Osos and the surrounding area of Los Osos, we issued 61 citations for the month of October. Of the collisions, we had one occur at 11th Street, south of Paso Robles Street. We had one occur on South Bay Boulevard, north of Turi. Those were our DUI collisions. Let me take a quick look. One of them was a minor injury collision. And the other one was, thank you for your patience with me, a non-injury collision. Of our non-DUI related collisions, one occurred at Los Osos Valley Road, west of 9th Street, a rear end collision, minor injuries there. We had a collision occur on Petrol Valley Road and north of Seawind Way, also a minor injury collision, and maybe even the injury there could have been a medical condition not related to the collision. Not 100% sure, but minor damage to the vehicles there. 7th Street and El Moro, we talked about that last month. Mm-hmm. This was a minor injury collision. It was 2 vehicles. And there's nothing that is outstanding about it. Let's see, were there any passengers in those vehicles? No, 2 drivers. Oh, okay. There was something outstanding. There was a vehicle. This was a vehicle versus a pedestrian. That's what it was. And the pedestrian suffered some lacerations. That's what the injuries are listed there. And it looks like the vehicle in this case did not yield to the pedestrian in the walkway there. That's what occurred there. We had a non-injury collision on Los Osos Valley Road, east of Pine Street. That was actually a misdemeanor hit and run where a vehicle struck a parked vehicle. We do not have any suspect information on the vehicle or on the suspect driver. And then we had a motorcycle collision at Turi, east of South Bay Boulevard. Luckily, also just complaint of pain injuries in that motorcycle collision. So that is an overview for the month of October. I know that we talked about 7th and El Moro last month. I do not yet have collision statistics for 7th and El Moro. I'm going to hopefully have those for our next meeting in December. And also I was asked about tickets in that area. I'm going to try and explain this the best way I can. We don't have a beat that is specific to 7th Street or El Moro Street. We just don't have enough traffic on those streets to give that a specific beat. Like Los Osos Valley Road is its own beat. We call it a line beat. So I could get speeding tickets. Well, actually, I'm sorry, not speeding tickets, but I could get tickets issued specifically on Los Osos Valley Road. But I could not get tickets specifically for the area around 7th and El Moro, unless I did that in a way moving forward. And I was asking our officers to report any citation activity around there. But then to get a good picture of that, we would need to, do that for a period of time. So what some of the things that we are going to do for sure. I've spoken with our motorcycle sergeant. We're going to be doing some similar to what we've done on Los Osos Valley Road. We're going to put those motorcycles to do some enforcement in that vicinity of 7th and El Moro, certainly around school times. Maybe venture out a little bit from there and not just stay there, but we will be doing some proactive enforcement in that area in the coming months. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council members? Sue?
Hi, Captain Klingenberg. Is
Hi.
it possible that you say that 7th and El Moro is not a beat?
It's a
but
beat. It's not a line beat.
A line beat.
Yeah.
Is there a line beat that would include that area, that if we had the list of things, we could find them at, we could have somebody search it and eat through
No.
it?
That's just
That
not the
doesn't work
way our
that way.
statistics work. No, that's just not the way they work.
Okay,
It's
cool.
included in a bigger area beat that includes the Los Osos proper. It just is not specific to 7th and El Moro. That would require a search of all of the citations in that area. And a hand search would be, that would take quite a bit of time.
Okay, sorry.
I apologize for that.
No problem.
No worries. Deborah?
Yes, I just want to say thank you very much for doing a little examination around that area. I think, if I'm correct, is the speed limit there 35? Is that correct?
Well, if we're talking about right by the school, no. The school obviously would be 25 during the school and the pedestrian times.
Mhm.
I'll be 100% honest. I'm not sure what the speed limit is there, but we could do. There's a new law that came out related to doing a speed survey and a lowering of speed limits that makes it easier to lower speed limits. That the county can do a traffic study there, if you will.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a traffic study. And then once they do that study, if they find that the median speed there is a certain speed, they can lower it. They used to be able to only be able to lower it 5 miles an hour. They can lower it an additional 5 now. They have a little more discretion, or raise it additional 5. But they have a little more discretion than they used to with this new law that has come out. But I apologize for not knowing exactly what the speed limit is there. I
No
apologize.
problem. I appreciate your time very much.
Yael, I see your hand up.
I'm wondering why 7 and more. What is, did we have any some incidents there? Because it's a 4-way stop. So are people not stopping? Because I walk there a lot and I'm not aware of any incidents there. So I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I did not hear of any not stopping. What was requested of me last month was just in the vicinity of the school and near 7th and El Moro. And I think what prompted it was this auto pedestrian collision that we had there at near 7th and El Moro.
Yeah, because the school is between 9 and 11 in El Moro.
Sure. It's just in the vicinity there. That was because of the pedestrian. I'm sure may have been related to the school or walking to the school. And so that tied it in there.
I see. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any questions from the community? All right, let's
Marty
go.
has his hand up. Marty
sorry,
Azevedo.
Okay.
Robin has her hand up. No,
Hold on.
somebody has
No,
her hand.
no one is raising their hand officially.
Oh,
I
okay.
see somebody
Yes,
waving their hand. I'm just trying.
I see
to-
Robin McPeak.
She does not have her hand up.
No? Okay.
Well, I'll take it as they're waving at me and I'll wave back.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's go to Carrie Brown.
Okay, let me find her. There we go.
I found her. Yep.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi. I was hoping that I could give you guys an update on the Los Osos vacation rental ordinance tonight, but unfortunately, the Coastal Commission did not take action at their hearing yesterday. Our staff has reached out to them and we are looking to schedule a meeting to discuss any issues that they have. We don't have a new date yet for that and them to consider that, but I will give you, as soon as I know that, I will let you all know. And that's all I really have tonight, but I am here for any questions.
I have a question. Is there any updates on the Title 19 and the consultant or the next stage for that?
Let's see. I believe that we have a consultant selected and we have the funding. We're hoping that we'll get that started probably next month.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions for Carrie from the council? Any questions from the community? I don't see any hands up. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to Supervisor Gibson. There you go.
I would think by now I would know what the buttons do, but one of them apparently blanks off my screen, so you don't have to look at me, which, you know.
Yeah, one does do that, but we would like to look at you. No worries.
Okay, I'm pleased to be with you
If I
tonight.
have to, you have to.
I don't have a huge amount to report. Following up on Carrie, I will be involved in whatever meetings coastal staff has regarding the vacation rental ordinance. I think there are a series of issues that we can work through. The coastal staff, particularly in the Santa Cruz office, is really stretched thin. They are down several positions and just really struggling to get the workload out. So I'm a bit disappointed, but not completely surprised that this thing is languishing a little bit. But we're working them on it, and we'll let you know. I was really pleased. I drove by Palisades a couple days ago, 3 days ago, and in that time, all but one RV has been relocated. I saw two folks still camping in tents. That the junk is gone. Public Works has apparently swept the street, and things are looking much more like normal. That said, we're still, our efforts to adequately address homelessness are really just starting. The Kansas Avenue site is full. We're working to make it better. We're working to expand the reach of services and see some results. As I've said all along, this is a process, and this problem developed over years and years and years, and it's going to take some time to get an effective response to it. So that said, we have completed the hire of a program manager for homelessness. So we're beefing up our staff in the county organization. We do have money. I'm going to be asking that our board have an item to really talk about a vision for getting some more results. So that's that. And then I guess all of you, I'm sure, are aware that tomorrow the board meets in special session to talk about redistricting. There's been quite a response from the North Coast about the proposed plans that make large changes there. And appreciate the advisory council weighing in. We've got letters from the cities of San Luis and Morro Bay, Los Osos CSD, the Cambria CSD, all three advisory councils along the North Coast, and a huge number of citizens. So appreciate you expressing your views there. And again, I think you all probably know this as well. This is the next to the last hearing tomorrow. Final action will be taken at another special meeting a week from this coming Tuesday, November 30th, where a final map will be passed by a board majority vote and moved on to the formal introduction as an ordinance. So I think most of you are well aware of that. And beyond that, happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council? Okay, let's use the hand on the computer. I see Yael, but it's so much easier for Sandra and I if you please use it the right way.
Okay. Bruce, I have two questions. I have one question regarding what's the timing for the other two safe areas that the county was committed to open, that should be near urban areas, so they are not going to be so far and inadequate as the Kansas side is. I would like to know the timeline and if you have any areas in mind. And I also want to point out that while the Kansas side is completely full and overcrowded, it's also showing to be a very inappropriate site. As I was always warning, it's too far from any markets. People cannot afford to drive to get food. People don't get a bus passes, and the bus is not very consistent. People are depressed. People don't get services. There are no services there, just like there were no services on Palisade. And the hygiene services are inadequate yet still. I mean, in the county, your office, and now the new person, I don't see any intentions of actually discussing matters with the residents of the site, because they're the ones that know what they need. And so basically the site is run very poorly from what I see and what I hear. And but the most important is you absolutely need to open 2 more sites where people will be able to stretch, to live. I mean, there's so many.
Yael, do you have actual questions for Supervisor Gibson?
When is that going to happen? And
Okay.
when are you going to start talking to the residents so that they can tell you what they need there? I know you're talking to some.
Okay,
But I don't
perfect.
see
Let
that-
him answer now. You asked your 2 questions. Let
Well,
him
thank
answer.
you, Trish. Thank you for interrupting. Thank you.
So I understand, I understand your views on how Kansas is being operated. We've said all along that it is far, far from perfect. We want we want the program that helps people get onto a track to permanent housing to be better, to be widely distributed through the county, so it is close to communities that they're associated with. Kansas was a first step, and we've been very consistent with that. To my knowledge, I don't think it's accurate to say that no services are provided out there. I think we can be assured that there are folks being offered services. There is food bank is engaged out there, and the issues with the sanitation is being addressed. And in fact, this past Tuesday, we did approve the purchase of a bigger, better, and more appropriate shower trailer. Now it's going to take a while to get that going, but we're aware of the shortcomings and we're working at every step to try to correct them and move them forward. As to the timeline for 2 more parking sites, I ask about that continuously. Our new individual who's working on the homeless program just started on Monday. So we will be asking about that, and I will be asking our staff that's involved to make good on the intention. Still our intention to do that. We are talking about how those sites, how all safe parking sites in the county are managed, and we'll have, I think, something to say about that in the coming weeks. So, like I say, we understand we have a lot of work to do, and I can only tell you that it's certainly on my list to make sure we follow through. So,
what about people not in vehicles? When you say safe parking, it should be safe.
Included in the questions that I'm asking.
Okay, you need to provide shelter. Basically, the county has to provide shelter. Just parking lot is not shelter. All right, I will end with that because we can go on and on. All right.
Thank you. Any other council members with questions?
I just had a follow-up question. So have 2 sites been identified, or that's still even in the process of identifying?
Not to my knowledge, Sandra. And again, we'll be asking about that. We'll keep, we'll just keep pushing on it. It's just something that has to do. I'm not directly involved in those discussions, and we're, that effort has not been forgotten. Maybe that's the easiest way. We will keep pushing on it.
Okay, thanks.
Any other council members? Okay, let's go to community members. I have the Nick, but I don't have a last name, Nick.
I asked to.
My last name is Watson.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Watson.
Watson, thank you.
Yeah. So I would like to thank you for everything that has been done out here at Kansas Avenue. I am a resident here. As far as help goes, I know that the food bank is helping, but on behalf of everyone, that's about it. Capitol comes out here. The Salvation Army has made presence, but the only help that really comes out here that has been to do any housing, well, I haven't heard of any. And I speak on behalf of everyone. We have a lot of promises that have been given. Not only are we full, but we are beyond capacity to the point that we as residents are now condensing ourselves to help other homeless come in and fit because, obviously there is no other safe parking. The other ones are afraid. So on my question is, are you going to come out here to see the conditions and see that the promises you've made to the paper to us are not being followed up? Or are you gonna, because there's a lot of promises and a lot of people are missing out on all these promises and we don't know how to receive them, but they're being made. And I, more than anyone, would love this place to succeed at the very least, no matter what, at least this one spot.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Well,
you.
I certainly do drive by the spot and have noticed the increase in participation there. And I do understand it's full, Nick, and I do understand that in an effort to try to serve as many people as they can, the design of the site there was to reasonably maximize the number of vehicles that could be put there. I get it that that's not ideal from a livability standpoint, but I'd submit that we still have many steps to go. Whether if I guess my view is that safe parking is a first step, and we need to do more to have the next steps, whatever they might be, and they're going to have to be for different people, and so we're going to keep working on that. As to the provision of services, I know my legislative assistant, Mr. Fixler, is listening in. We will take your comments on that seriously, and we'll ask the different service providers what they are doing, what they're able to provide, and we need to form that plan, because Kansas Avenue is not intended to be your permanent home. We need to find you a better place, right? I mean, that's what we need to do. So that's more than just paving, grading off a piece of dirt and letting people park there. We got to do some work. So I appreciate very much that through the magic of technology, you're able to give us that input directly. No, I take it seriously, and we will address it with those who can provide some response.
Okay, next up, we have Amanda Tanner.
I think Lindy had her hand up and then Amanda.
I don't see Lindy.
Well, it's just she was waving frantically.
Oh.
I saw. And then Amanda will be next.
Lindy, we have got to teach you how to use this.
I don't know if I'm supposed to speak right now, but
Yes,
I
go ahead.
did react. Excuse me?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go.
I've done reactions and my hand up doesn't work. So I'm not sure what's not working, but anyway, thank you for acknowledging my hand up. I have a number of questions. I really think there's a complete disconnect between what's going on Kansas and the needs and what the county is trying to provide. My question is, we had an option for a very good position to be filled by a local well-qualified person, and that she was not chosen. I'm wondering, could we know who you chose and where they came from? I mean, and I want to say, Bruce, I do appreciate that you're the only one on the board that seems to be taking this issue on. And so we do appreciate that. You and Blake both have been good, but this is moving at a snail or slug movement now. I've watched for 3.5 months now. The pilot program is just not addressing the things that come up that are obvious needs. What is it going to take to get the funding freed up to say when things are needed, they need to be addressed? There's no place for people to cook. There's little activity between the social services. There's no office for anybody to meet with the people that there's just, I know this is a pilot program, but when you look at other cities and what they have been able to come up with, you have the guidelines to do the right thing, and we're just not seeing it. And it's very discouraging to me. And I think to, the needs of the people. And secondly, we have tent campers on Palisades now. That will be the new tent camping area because there's no place for them to go to. The expansion of Kansas could include them with some better services provided. So you can't leave them this is the hardest time of the year for people that don't have a vehicle to, protect themselves from the conditions in, and they're they're going to stay on Kansas Avenue because legally they can if the county cannot provide them a place. So thank you for what you've done, but we need a million things more, and they shouldn't be held up any longer. So I just hope that, you know, these points come clear. Thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you for that notice, Lindy. I mean, the short answer is this needs to, well, it is technically a priority of the board, but now the board needs to make the kind of budget commitments that are actually going to achieve results. And that's a matter of getting 3 and sometimes 4 votes to do it. So know that I'm going to continue to advocate on that. But as you see that the other supervisors have other priorities. That said, we will, high on my list. I mean, I think even before choosing another parking spot, I think we do need very specifically to address the other unsheltered folks who are living in tents. And that, have been told by those who know, is a little bit more of a challenge in terms of the needs of those individuals tends to be greater. So, if they're not, if Prado is not the place for them, we need to figure out how we structure something where they can have shelter. And again, that's going to be my first effort is to push for that. So we got to give. I was not involved in the hiring process of program manager, and I've not met that person. So once that person's in and going, we'll certainly make sure we introduce them, and we'll look forward to that being a significant stepping stone, making these programs work better. But it's a constant effort. And as problems are identified and shortcomings are identified, that Blake has been very receptive to understanding those, and we do what we can to make things better. It's not going as fast as I would like or anybody would like, but I would submit it's moving forward. So we're just going to keep that moving forward.
Okay, next on is Amanda Tanner.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
also a resident out here at Kansas Avenue. The first question I had was, is there a definitive address out here? I've had to call to get the toilets pumped a few times and the garbage picked up because they were failing to fulfill their obligations that they'd committed to out here. And every time I had kind of got the runaround just because I didn't know the address. Is there going to be, or is there a definitive address for Kansas Avenue?
I don't know. Well, Blake, I don't know. Do you have any insight into whether there's a number associated with that?
There actually, pardon me, is not, as there is no building. However, the address we've been using has been 0 Oklahoma.
0. Okay.
However,
Oklahoma, not Kansas.
As
Similar.
technically it's a left onto Oklahoma as opposed to a right onto Kansas. However, if there are issues with trash pickup or toilet pumping, please let us know so we can handle that with the vendor, as that is our contract. And I understand that there's been times where the trash company hadn't been able to get to the dumpsters. There had been trash in the way, but as soon as we've been aware of that, we've moved to rectify that and tried to increase the frequency of service on both shower pumping and trash pickup, so that does not happen continually.
Yeah, okay. And my other question, thank you. My other question was, I understand about the showers. You guys had said you just voted and it was approved on getting the showers out here. In the meantime, one of our neighbors out here has MS and she's in a wheelchair and she's been unable to bathe since she's been out here. We were in the paper and on the news and everything. It's all saying that there's ADA compliant showers out here and there has never been such a thing. So is there any way that this can be moved along quicker for that reason? Because I mean, there is more than one disabled person out here that needs to be, have access to proper hygiene.
Let me take that one, Blake. If we could have a chat about that, and let's see what we can do about that. Okay.
Of course.
Thank you.
All right. We need to get off this topic and move on, but we have two more hands up. The first one is Yael. If you
I
could
just
be
want,
quick.
excuse me, I just want to put it on the record that people are there because they're forced to move there, not because they went there voluntarily. I myself and Paul have helped so many people move there against our own will because I'm completely against this location. And we had to help them because there was no choice. The other choice would be to have your vehicle, your home, towed away, impounded, be harassed constantly by law enforcement. I mean, really, day in, day out at night. That's why we help people move there, but they are against their will there. They are forced to be there. And in that sense, they feel like they are in an internment camp, they are in a cage, they're in prison. So I just want to put it on the record. I want it to be on the minutes, please, whoever takes the minutes. And I need you, Bruce, to hear that because you're not doing the great favor that you're doing by putting people there. It's really, I mean, some people have not, all of them have no choice. Where else are going to go? So yeah, they're grateful that they're not harassed all the time. But that's the only thing they're grateful for, that they know law enforcement banging on their trailer, on their vehicle in the middle of the night with the flashlights looking inside. So that's the only good thing about that place. Otherwise, that place should not be there. It should be somewhere else and much better organized, okay? So then we will be able to thank you. I mean, I right now don't have it in me, okay?
All right,
Madam
Nick.
Chair, if I could.
Yes.
I'm going to respond this way. I'm well aware of your opinions of that site and the manner in which the county's handling homelessness, and you're more than welcome to your opinion.
I know.
But I will state categorically, and I believe you know this to be true, that people are not forced to occupy Kansas Avenue, and it is not an internment camp. So I reject that categorically, and we will continue. I don't think it's worth debating with you this evening, but I think that is the one piece of your comments here that I really have to make clear to the public that's listening. And I think the council understands that that's the case. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Nick, you have your hand up, but if you
It's
have
just
a
a quick
specific question,
I do.
one question, 1 minute, that's it.
So we have kids out here. We had lights in the beginning, they took them away. I understand that there are light poles next door that don't light up enough of the place. I see it's not being very difficult to get lights. Should you not be able to get lights, you do have a power source over here by the bathrooms. I would like to offer to build a light post to shine lights on the bathroom so my kids don't have to be afraid to go into the porta potties to use the bathroom. At the very least, I mean, I try to connect with Fixler, and he's a great guy. He talks to me quite often, and I appreciate everything. So, but the lights are an issue that are becoming a safety hazard with my kids, and I just feel better if there was some sort of light out here besides next door neighbor poles.
Okay. I know that Blake has been working with that. We'll get that transition to the new program manager, and safety is a concern. So know that I know Blake has taken that, and he and I will discuss that and see where we can go from here.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Supervisor Gibson?
With that, Madam Chair, if there aren't any more, I'm going to beg your pardon and take my leave, as I have a little bit more to do to get ready for tomorrow.
I understand.
And Blake may hang around for a while, but as always, a pleasure to be with you, and I'll look forward to the next opportunity in the new year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce.
Take care.
All right, let's go to the CSD report, please.
I saw Matthew Forcroy. Is that who's doing it tonight? Yeah, okay.
Maybe Chuck?
He says yes. No, he says yes.
Yeah, you should be able to unmute now. Okay.
Hello, my name is Matthew Forcroy, board member on the Los Osos CSD. Here to give you our update. We have been busy continuing to serve water to part of Los Osos, and we have a few projects that we're working on, working to get going, I should say. We have a tank rehabilitation project that we should be starting I think in about the new year on 16th Street. Those tanks haven't been maintained in a while, and they're going to get a full recoat, repaint, recoat, and blasting. Also, we're working on the 8th Street, so 2 new wells, the 8th Street Upper Aquifer well and the Program C well. The Program C well is a BMC well, and that's actually on your agenda. We applied for the minor use permit, and Ron Munz will walk you through that here later in the meeting. Then also on the side of emergency services, I'm not sure if you got an update. You probably have heard this, but it's worth mentioning again. Los Osos, we're getting a new fire engine.
Yes, I think we heard that last month.
Okay, good. I think that's important to note. It's one of the things I think of Los Osos that people overlook is that we're paying for that, the citizens of this town. It's not a CAL FIRE engine, it's a Los Osos engine that we've paid for. Okay, moving on. Our other big topic right now is districting. So we voted to go from, we voted to look into going from by area or at-large elections to by district elections. And we've had several public hearings about that. The board's narrowed it down to 2 different maps. And we have our 5th and final hearing at our next board meeting on Thursday, December 2nd to finalize which districting map we're going to go with. So if anybody has any more input about that, the 2nd would be the last meeting to have your say. So that's been a long process that a lot of most different entities are going through right now, even small ones, as a result of a lawsuit down in Santa Monica. And the last thing I wanted to bring up is our Parks and Rec committee. We have restarted work on the dog park. Where we had ended up before COVID was we had a conceptual plan put together, and we had really started to solicit public comment on that plan. And we're back to the point where we can start working on that project again. So we're really trying to get as much public input on the dog park as we can in the next little while here. We have the conceptual plans on our website, and really the next things we need are to determine what the project costs are going to be. And that will enable us to look for grant funding, and we need to figure out operations and maintenance of the park itself. That's not going to be the CSD. We don't have any staff. All of our staff are water operators. So we're going to have to figure out what group or groups could get together and be part of either a new group or an existing group to operate and maintain that park. So we're definitely looking for more input. Our next Parks and Rec meeting will be Tuesday, December 14th at 5:30. And if you have any input about the dog park, please come to that meeting, or if you can't make it and you have something to say, you can always email the district, and we'll make sure all those comments are put together. So yeah, that's the end of my report. Any questions?
I have a question. I don't know if you can do this, but I was just wondering, can you give us like a quick synopsis of the two final maps that have been proposed, what the main differences are between those?
Yeah, one of the maps I think better preserves some of the, it's hard to say communities because we're basically one homogeneous community, but it better preserves neighborhoods, I would say. It's split on streets that maybe make a little more sense. And but the problem with that is that it puts multiple sitting board members in the same district and leaves some districts with no board member currently, which will cause some issues going forward with future elections. And then the other map that we're looking at puts each board member in their own district right away. So there wouldn't be an overlap.
And it would still be the same amount of board members. You're not increasing or.
Same amount of board members. Both maps completely comply with with all of the Voting Rights Acts. Each map has roughly the equivalent number of Lososians in them within the range that's acceptable. So both maps are, according to our consultant, legal and good to go. It's really a question of where we make these splits in town and the repercussions going forward with like the succession of board members. If there's multiple board members in a district right now, then the next election, we got to decide what happens.
Because ultimately that would go away. There would be one member within each district.
Correct.
That would take time through.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you.
No problem.
Lindy has her thumb up. Was there other council members? Trish, you're muted. Hold on. Were there any other council members had questions? No. Okay, Lindy.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to ask Matthew if the decision for the district lines is something that might be worth considering, even if we currently have members that are not in the districts. Could there be a plan that after the future elections or terms of existing members runs out, that the plan could be instituted if you feel that that's a better plan or a more equitable plan, but we have good board members currently not in the right situations? Could there be a add-on that says that it starts in 4 years or something? I just wonder if that's a consideration. I haven't looked at it that carefully myself, but I understand the complexity of losing board members that are good members right now. So
yeah, as I understand it, it's something that we need to implement now. The way that it's been explained at our meetings is that we need to implement the districting now as a safe harbor against what seems like imminent lawsuits if we don't. So that's really what's driving this. Our demographer went through, looked at the latest census data. We don't have any one area in town that is a majority minority area. So it's all of the districting really is I don't want to say a formality, but it's being driven by our district council. It's being driven by that. We're not, at least I'm not seeing where we have a problem, where we have things packed or cracked or anything like that in town. So it's something that we're going to have to adopt here, and it's going to be a matter of how the board wants to go, and that's a huge consideration. Is making sure that we have board members and we have people that are interested in in the majority of the board at this point has run completely unopposed. So that, to me, it kind of is an indication that it could be hard to fill seats if you start making it more difficult or make it more specific your parts of town. But that's completely my opinion.
Okay, any other questions from council or from community? All right, Matthew, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, have a good evening.
Thank you. Lynette, you're on for the Chamber of Commerce report.
Okay, we have 3 events actually for a change this December as opposed to how it went last year. The first thing is Light Up Los Osos, and the date as to when people get involved in that hasn't been determined yet. So keep an eye on our website or call the office, which I'll give you the number at the end if you want to get a pencil ready. So that was the thing we did last year, where homes and businesses were decorated, and quite a nice prize was awarded at the end to the winner. We're partnering up with the Estero Bay News to get some publicity and to show the winners. The second thing is the Christmas tree lighting. We had like 3 people doing it last year, but this year it's an actual invite the whole community thing. The date will be Friday, December 10th. It will be in the patio area of the Red Barn. There will be some kind of snacks and sodas. And I don't have a time yet. They haven't told me a time yet. So it's sometime around dusk so we can actually light the tree. There'll be some singing and just general fun stuff for lighting a Christmas tree. Next thing is the actual Christmas parade that we haven't had. We didn't have it the past year, but we are going to have it this year. The theme is Parade of Thanks, and that's to thank all the service workers and essential workers that helped out during the pandemic. Being in the parade is open to every business or organization that wants to join. It's only $25 this year. It went down. Applications to be in the parade and sponsorships, if you want to sponsor the parade and get your name out on banners and announced by the announcer that's going to MC the parade. I would say call the office. That's the best thing to do right now. The forms just got done and they're not up on the website yet. So the office number is 805-528-4884. And it's also the numbers on the website as well. That will be Saturday, December 11th, right after the Christmas tree lighting on Friday, December 10th. So that's what's in store from the chamber. And that's my report.
Thank you very much, Lynette. Any questions from the council? Any questions from the community? Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to public comment for items not on the agenda. If anyone from the public has something they would like to say, please raise your hands. You would have 3 minutes. I don't see any raised hands. Okay. Can we approve minutes from the meeting of October 28th?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Lynette, I see you as a second. All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
You can do it this way because I can see you. Anyone opposed? All right, it has passed. Let's do the Locac committee reports. Let's start with the treasurer's report. Deborah Howe, and we've got some good news tonight.
I actually have a report, a real report. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have a working bank account. We successfully transferred all of our funds into the American Riviera Bank. Cannot tell you how delightful those people are. It's a regional bank. And they're very service oriented, and they bent over backwards to make this happen for me. We deposited $3,203.95 into the account. That was a combination of the money that was left at mechanics that we took out, $1,742.95, added to the check that we got from the county for $1,461. Since then, we've made reimbursements to Lynette for website and security. We made reimbursements to Sandra for all the Zoom charges. We've also paid our bill for the next 12 months for Zoom. Trish reimbursed me for the money I paid to the IRS and also for our post office box that I paid. The total, and we paid our chamber membership, $100. So the total paid out was $1,004.12. We currently have a balance of $2,199.83, and we have no outstanding bills. Yes. Woohoo.
Great job. Great job.
Any questions from the council for Deborah? Sue.
Yes, Sue.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say, Deborah, thank you for all your hard work. I mean, I can't imagine what you've been through with this, and I'm so grateful. I think it was Jim Stanfield that recommended this bank to you, wasn't it?
Actually, it was Jim Hale who
I'm
banks
sorry.
there, and he goes, "You should go here. They're so great." And I go, "Really?" And it turned out he was 100% right. They were absolutely wonderful, and they're a very high-tech bank. We'll be doing online banking. Everything will be, so much so that I think I'm going to move my accounts over there. That's how much I liked them. So what can I tell you?
That's awesome.
Service
Great
count.
job. Lindy, I do see your hand up.
You have a question for me, Lindy?
I just wanted to say thank you very much, Deborah. That was kind of like a rat's nest of past confusions. And I wanted to hear the name of the bank again.
American Riviera, their flagship bank is in Santa Barbara. They have 3 in the Santa Barbara County and 1 in Paso Robles and 1 in San Luis Obispo, right on Santa Rosa Road and Higuera.
Very good. Thank you. I appreciate your challenge.
I was determined.
Good work.
Oh, all right, let's go to committee reports. Larry on land use.
We're going to be having a real busy December meeting coming up. We've got a lot of projects. In fact, we're going to have to split them up and put some of them off into January, the new year. But things are moving around here in Los Osos, and lots of projects coming up. And then I've got 2 that I'll be talking about later when we get to that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Larry. Any questions for Larry from the council? Okay. Jan Harper, traffic and circulation.
Yeah, nothing has come from the county. I'm going to send out an email to the group so that we can see what our future will be. If there's an issue that you have or notice about the roads or the vegetation around corners or anything like that, please call the county at 781-5252. And thank you. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Jan. Any questions for Jan? From the council.
Oh, Lindy's waving her hand.
I know, Lindy.
Oh.
Yes, Lindy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I just wanted to say, I noticed that 2 new street lights are going up before Pine. I don't know the 2 streets, but I walk my dogs there, and there's an endeavor to put 2 great street lights as you approach Pine from downtown, and the block before that, whatever that street is. So I hadn't any idea that they were going on, but I just think that's a real plus for the community. So thanks.
All right, let's go to trees and landscaping, Yael.
Hi, my first thing is I would like to announce that I've been the only one that's chairing, and I'm really asking from the council to step up. Anybody, somebody, please step up and join the trees and landscape. It's a really important committee, and I've been doing it by myself, and I need help. So that's I'm going to say it every time now because I need help. The other thing is that we had, I didn't realize I had 1 week less because of the holiday. So we had few agenda items that we were actually going to put on the consent agenda, but I didn't have time to do that. So my apologies, it will have to wait for the next meeting. We're still dealing with the same main project, the Elmore Trail, and we discussed spreading our outreach to more agencies for help and writing several letters. And we wanted to run it by the council. So I was supposed to put it in the consent agenda, but I did not have time. And I realized all of a sudden this week that that's when we have the Locac meeting. So it will go. Nothing is going to happen. So I don't think anything, we are losing anything. Nobody's, missing anything. So I'm going to do it the next meeting, which unfortunately I think it's January, right? We're not having a meeting. So it will wait for January. But all I'm saying is that we are still doing the same thing and just spreading our reach even further than what we've been doing. And that I need a companion to run the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Outreach, Sandra.
I see a hand. I don't know, Lynette, did you have a question?
Oh, Lynette, I see your hand.
I just wanted to say thank you very much. I'm going to take Cindy's presentation. I'm working with her. It will go out in the chamber newsletter, which goes to 190 people. So your information will be going out to a wider audience. I just wanted to let you know. So thank you.
Right. And Sue asked me earlier what's on the website. So on the website is everything. The website really started since I took the chairmanship there. So it was the project in the community center. It started with our contract with the county, with everything, every single document, our Elmoro plans, the maps, every single thing, all of our recordings, all of the agenda and minutes that we wrote. So it's a very long web page. So please welcome, go look at it from bottom, of course, going up. You'll see what we have there. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Nope. All right, let's go to outreach with Sandra.
No, I don't have any updates. We're going to have an outreach meeting tomorrow and see, just to get more help. We will need some public members. So if anybody's interested in being part of the outreach committee as a public member and supporting outreach efforts, let me know.
All right. Any questions for Sandra? All right, let's go to ad hoc water committee, Deborah.
Yeah, unfortunately, James couldn't be here tonight, but we have a very short report. I know CSD is going to do their report on the program Seawell, so I won't be talking about that. Instead, I will bring to your attention that the county has hired a new consultant and they have given him his own department. He is, his name is Blaine Reilly. He's a hydrologist. And he will be in charge of the groundwater sustainability department. He is the only person in that department. And at the BMC meeting yesterday, I asked if this person would be helping the Basin Management Committee with the Los Osos Basin. And Bruce Gibson indicated that he didn't know that this person was hired on. He doesn't know exactly what his job description is going to be. Apparently, his focus is SGMA, which is the State Sustainability Groundwater Management Act, and that applies to all water basins and water plans within the county, except for us, because we are an adjudicated basin. And so we don't count under SGMA, and it's possible that we won't count for this person either. But we're still paying for him. His salary is quite generous. So I'm going to continue to work to see if there isn't some crossover that we can get from this man. We should be able to receive some benefit, even if we are an adjudicated basin, in my opinion. The county is interviewing for a consultant for the Title IX program. Currently, the Title IX is a 2-for-1. For every 1 gallon you use, you have to find a savings of 2. That's the way it's been for a while, but they're looking for a consultant. And apparently they have interviewed at least one person to come in and relook at that, analyze that, and see if we're really using the right metrics for that program. And that's it. If you have a question, yeah, Lindy. Or council. Or
council first.
Is there anyone from council?
It's Title 19.
It's 19, not 9.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say 9? I meant 19.
Yeah, I know. Lindy.
Yeah, I attended the meeting yesterday also. What's really aggravating is that the Title 19 program, incorrect amounts of, I mean, they're saying that, well, I won't go into that, but anyway, the county acknowledged that their numbers are incorrect. In other words, they've been issuing permits for new housing based on the 2-to-1, but with incorrect numbers. Now, this was noted over a year ago, I believe, and they said that they would jump right on it and correct it. So it's rather aggravating that the Title 19 is still going through these iterations of getting somebody to look at them, discuss them, and verify that they need to correct the numbers. In other words, we've been issuing permits for houses that use more water than they said that they were going to be using. So I feel frustrated by it, because if they know that this is incorrect and they continue operating with a current Title 19 numbers, they're allowing houses to go in that use more water than they are supposedly using. So the offsetting is not a working, it's not correct, and the county is being very slow about correcting it. So I believe that in land use, we should ask them to use the updated numbers, which they have. They don't want to approve them yet. So anyway, it's crazy. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions about the water committee? Nope. All right, so Deborah, you're still on. Let's talk about the SLO County Bicycle Advisory Committee update.
Okay, so first of all, it's not Bicycle Advisory Committee.
No, it's
Let's
alternative.
start there. It is active transportation, and I'm going to read you the definition. Active transportation is any self-propelled, human-powered mode of transportation, such as walking or bicycling. You could include scooters on that, or all kinds of things, but even and probably an e-assist bike you could include on that, because you do pedal. I'm going to start by talking about the purpose of this committee. The purpose is to provide a forum for the community to discuss issues with respect to all forms of active transportation, pedestrian, cycling, etc. We want to identify projects and challenges within the Los Osos community. We want to provide feedback to the county regarding our priorities. We want to focus on safety for active transportation, and we want to explore funding options for projects. And I want you to know that there's been a great deal of interest in this committee from the public. We have scheduled our first meeting. It will be December 9th at 6:30 on Zoom. And the first thing we're going to be looking at, besides, providing our forum for discussion, is a project that's already been funded. And I want to talk to you about this specifically because I didn't realize there wasn't going to be a meeting in December, and I need to have some action taken by Locac. So let me just launch in here. There is currently a project that has been funded through Locac's Safe Routes to School program. It is a sidewalk, curbs and gutters on El Morro between 9th and 8th. So the elementary school is, as Yael said, is between 9th and 11th. So this would be one block of sidewalk on El Morro with curbs and gutters. The money appropriated was $170,000 for the project, and $50,000 has been spent on design and environmental. The progress is this project has languished because there's been a lot of other pressing needs for the county to attend to. So they really haven't done anything other than, stuff on paper. We have an opportunity to re-examine this project and perhaps find a more impactful and beneficial use of these funds. I think if you can imagine yourself standing on El Morro at the elementary school and build a one block of sidewalk to nowhere, you'd have to agree that that's not going to have very much impact on getting kids safely to school. And this is why I was asking last month Sergeant Klingenberger about the accident on El Morro and 7th, because we had a person in the crosswalk. She ended up in the ER and spent the night in the ICU with a brain bleed, and she was an adult, not a child. So we have children walking on El Morro with no sidewalks and no protection. And it's a double yellow striped street. It's a heavily trafficked street. So I've been talking to the county and I've been talking to Locac and saying, hey, I think there are some other options here that should be looked at. And Mr. Hana Makai of the Locac suggested that we, Locac, write a letter explaining that we would like to possibly rescope this project. He emphasized that the letter should be received before the end of the year. So what I'd like to do is ask the council's permission to draft a letter for your review that could be sent out to the county and to Locac to pause this project. I mean, it's already paused. They're not doing anything anyway, but still put the brakes on until we have a chance to review it, both in the committee, the Active Transportation Committee, and at Locac, so that if we do come up with a better plan, that we can reposition that money in a way that would better serve the community and certainly not just help elementary school, but if you take a look at what Yael has put on her report, her presentation, it's on the first page of the website. She has beautiful pictures of the El Morro Trail from the middle school. It goes almost all the way to the elementary school, and it's safe and it's heavily used. If you haven't been on it, we probably have been on it, but you'll know that it's something that people use. So we want to have a safe route that dumps into a heavily traveled street. Doesn't make too much sense. So it's kind of where we're starting with that little project, because there's money there already. Because money, as we already know, is the hardest part of getting anything done.
So can I get a motion to have Deborah write a letter to be reviewed from Locac and approved by Locac to be mailed to the county?
Yeah,
I'll make a motion.
There's some questions.
This is just technical question. What side of El Morro are you talking about? The same side that the school is on, between 8 and 9?
I believe it is the same side as what the school is on. So there are sidewalks on 3 sides of the school.
Right.
And so it would just be continuation of that sidewalk that's between 10th and 9th. Then it would go from 9th to 8th. But that doesn't get you very far down the road, honestly. So we're not a town of sidewalks and curbs and gutters. We're probably not ever really going to be that kind of a town. So I envision that there are a lot of other opportunities to use this money in a more creative way. And that's what I want to explore with this committee and with the community.
Okay, we still need a motion.
I think Lynette had a question or.
Lynette,
It was a motion.
motion.
Yeah, for Deborah to write the letter. And I can't remember what the rest.
Just a draft. I'm just going to write a draft, send it out. You guys can.
Letter.
But to clarify, asking Slowcog to pause this project until we have a chance to review it.
Yeah, so let me be even more specific. So Stephen Hanamakai from Slowcog is very interested in helping us with this. And he sent me an email with specific points that should be made in this letter to tell the county and to explain to Slowcog why we want to relook at this project and what we think, could be done. So he sent me this beautiful email with bullet points, and I'm going to basically take what he's suggesting and put it into a letter, have all of you review it, make sure that you're good with it so that I can get it to, and there's about 8 or 9 people on this list that need to receive this letter, and he wants it by the end of the year. So.
Do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Larry?
Okay. I'm just concerned we don't have a date yet for a December meeting. If this could be done maybe on a special meeting on Zoom, that, we can accommodate getting this letter done in time, as
Larry,
opposed to waiting.
Yeah, the way that I see it is like how we did the redistricting letter.
You can do it by email.
Where we did it all by email. Everyone sent back an approval by email. And then
as long as it's known ahead of time, that's the way we're going to do it. I just, yes, I agree with you 100%. That can work fine, but
okay, good.
That it's established ahead of time.
Yeah, that is how this would have to get done.
Okay, I'm all for it.
Okay, is there anyone opposed? Jan, you're the only one I can't see.
I'm fine with it.
Okay, thank you. All right.
All right, great. Well, I'll get to work on this and get it out to who should I send it to? Sue for distribution?
Sure, I'd be glad to take care of it.
Okay, great. And then thank you. I'm excited because if we can make a little progress right out of the box, I think it'll be exciting for the community. And then we want to tie into what's already there at El Moro for what you're doing, Yael. We have synergy there.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's, if there's no more questions for Deborah, let's go to our consent agenda. Larry, can you discuss this consent item?
Well, I'd just like to make a motion that the item on the consent agenda is approved. It was unanimously approved in land use. It's a storage unit. They built it, and now they have a permit for it. So is there a second for the motion to approve the project?
I'll second.
Okay, Lynette is a second. All in favor?
Don't we need public comment?
Not on consent.
It's on the consent.
Not on
It's on the consent agenda.
Not on consent.
It's just council.
I think we still need public comment. I will look it up very quickly,
Well,
but
they
I
um,
think
do
we
at the
always just open it
CSC.
up for quick.
Okay,
They
is there
have-
anyone in the public that has a question on this project or a concern? Nobody. Okay, we're back to council. Do we have all in favor?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Any opposed? And I heard your voice, Jan, so we're good. Okay, no opposed, it passes. All right, now to the regular agenda items. Larry, you want to bring this one up?
Okay, and the next item is a well, Program C well, just off South Bay Boulevard and Los Osos Valley Road. It's been in the works for a long time. Again, discussed at land use and unanimously approved. We just put it on the regular agenda in case there was any public input on it. But again, I'd like to make a motion that Locac approve this project.
Do you want Ron, who is here, to discuss it first before we make the motion?
Only if there's public comment or question on it. Otherwise,
I have a question.
I don't see any
I have a
need.
question.
I'll
Go ahead.
second the motion.
I have a question.
Okay,
Yeah,
Deborah?
go ahead.
Oh, okay, great. For Ron.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. So when I originally looked at this project, I think it said something about doing some sharing with the Golden State pipeline that they have in existence. Is that still the plan, or has it been changed?
It is not the plan. When we discussed with Golden State, it would be called a wheeling agreement, using their infrastructure to get it to our infrastructure, and it'd be a shorter pipeline. There's a lot of issues in operation and liabilities that if we were operating that well and we were pumping into their system and they had a water quality problem, it could get complicated. So we agreed at this point in time that it would be simpler and probably take less time to go ahead and do our own pipe for that well.
So the pipe is going down South Bay Boulevard.
Yes, it
That
goes
correct?
down South Bay past the Los Osos Valley intersection and then veers to the west over to Mountain View, and then down Mountain View and intersects with our system at Napomo Avenue.
And it stops at Napomo?
Yeah, we have a pipeline there that we can hook into.
Got it, got it. And so when you, I have to apologize to you, Ron, but my brain is all about trails, pedestrian trails and walkways and bicycle paths. And when I hear somebody's going to put in a pipeline, I think to myself, is that a possible trail or a bike path or something that I can piggyback on? That's my question.
When we've done other pipeline projects, our last one was on Napomo Avenue from South Bay down to 10th Street. We typically try to ride along the shoulder, so we're out of the pavement because that saves cost. On this one, it's going to be pretty much in the roadway already. We may do a little bit of shoulder on Mountain View, but like for South Bay, cutting across, there's already at that dead end an area of trees that we're going to have to try to dissect through. But I don't see a possibility for bike trail.
Or a pedestrian walkway, even if it's dirt, it doesn't have to be paved. I'm just saying, because that's a tricky place there, that corner of South Bay Boulevard, anywhere on Los Osos Valley Road in South Bay. It's not very conducive to walking.
Right, I don't know how this would help that.
Okay, just keep it in mind though.
I will.
Okay, we have a question from Lindy.
I just wanted to say, I think the public deserves at least a brief explanation of each project that gets approved. Not everybody goes to land use, not everybody goes to the county website to find them. So Larry, I think it would be nice to give a real brief discussion about that last project and the well project. We have people from the public that have no idea what these projects are that are being approved. So just a comment.
But they've been posted on, the website on the agenda, for public viewing and questioning, and
a brief explanation would just be, I
Okay,
think, courtesy, a courtesy.
Okay,
Thank you.
So, I think,
Understood.
Lindy, I think the minor use permit for the shed is just a shed, no water, no nothing, just a shed. So that's why it was consented, not going to ever have water, just a small 278 square foot shed.
Well, that's an
It's going to have,
explanation.
it's
That's
going to
an
have trees around it. So, the neighbors aren't going to be offended and all of that. So it was consented. I think Ron is doing a pretty good job with what we have written already on the agenda. Is there any other questions that aren't being covered from Ron and what's on the agenda tonight?
Who has a question?
Sue?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ron, I have a question. I had heard that, I don't know where, I don't even remember where I heard this, but that your well and the Golden State well are going to be close, and there was some concern as to if they would affect each other anyway adversely. Oh,
Yeah,
there
we
you are.
had,
You moved.
we had that analyzed by Cleith Harris, Spencer Harris, our hydrogeologist, that does a lot of work for both the BMC and the CSD. And he put together a technical memorandum that we circulated back to Golden State, and there'll be some influence, but not enough in that type of a well to matter. If you look at, we have a well on 10th Street, and probably even closer than these two wells will be from South Beta, our new site, and we have very little influence. So there shouldn't, the tech memo kind of addressed all that.
What does that mean, influence, little influence?
Well, influence, if you have two large wells too close together, you get the drawdown of the aquifer, and what'll happen is your well level will drop and you'll start sucking air more or less, and then it'll damage your pumps. So that's why we're careful about distance and size of pumps when we're doing these types of projects, especially in our little groundwater basin and where the opportunities aren't that great where we can put these wells.
I see. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Ron? Okay, so Larry made a motion, Jan seconded it. Can we have a council vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Speak out in case I don't see you. Okay, it looks like it was unanimous. Thank you very much, Ron, for coming tonight.
Thank you, Ron.
Good night.
Appreciate you, Ron.
Thank you.
Okay, under business items, I've got a couple things, actually three. The first one is we did have a meeting yesterday with our committee chairs, and I thought had a really good meeting. Took about a little over an hour. We talked about what's working, what's not working. We also talked about expansion, addition, and combination of I wrote down clinics. You could tell I was in healthcare for 30 some years of committees. And then we also discussed about our bylaws, our P&Ps, and our bylaws do say that you have to have 2 Locac members per committee. That's why Yael is saying, please, if there's anyone out there who wants to join her committee, she needs somebody. Public members do have a max of 8 years. They have 2-year terms up to a max of 8 years. Then they have to take a year off and they can start back up. And then the other thing that's in our bylaws is that committees must meet monthly prior to the Locac meeting. The conclusion we had that we wanted to bring to this Locac meeting today is that we still approve of the bylaws as far as 2 Locac members per committee and public members max of 8 years. But we would like permission to have the bylaws committee look at the fact that committees have to meet, every committee has to meet every month. There could be some committees that probably should only meet on a quarterly basis or only need to meet on a quarterly basis. So we wanted to get the input from Locac to see if that could go, that segment of it could go back to the bylaws committee. So I'm making a motion, I guess, that that the committees, the monthly meetings for the committees will go to the bylaw committee for their review and approval of changing the monthly meetings.
I'm not sure if we
I
really
second
need
that.
a motion for it though.
Do we
'cause I
not
think-
need a motion?
I don't think so, because I think there's so many modifications we need to do to the bylaws that we'll just
Okay.
bring it
So
all
it's just
back.
something that we can bring back to the bylaws committee?
I mean, I think so, and then once it's in there and we want the council to approve on all the changes,
Then we'll approve all of them at one time.
we'll highlight
Okay.
them, but more of like, this is what we're thinking, if anybody's
Mhm.
got any other thoughts
Perfect.
or questions.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to reiterate what I said in the meeting, and Deborah said maybe she'll consider to either integrate the water. I know that the ad hoc water committee has more to do with land use. I understand that. But I think that the trees and landscape have something to do with water, or water has to do something with that. And I need somebody on the committee. I'm just trying to somehow recruit maybe Deborah to join us or something. I know that you're starting to spread yourself now thin. So
Very
I'm not,
thin.
but I don't know who else that is not so spread thin would do it. But but I need somebody interested in that. You don't just do it because you need to warm a chair once a month. So it needs to be somebody that's interested. So that's all I'm saying. That Deborah, if you don't spend time on the ad hoc committee for water, because whatever, maybe you've already covered all the information. If you're still interested, we would love to have you. But again, I don't want you to feel like you're spreading too thin.
And the active transportation committee and the treasurer and your other groups that you work with, Deborah.
Well, I never thought that you should be the treasurer. I thought somebody else should. So
she is such a great treasurer. No one else.
I can hand it off anytime now.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Okay, so that was the committee chair meeting yesterday. Just wanted to remind everybody, elections are coming up in May, and I think there's like three people that are coming up for election. So if there's anybody,
four,
that's right, four.
Who are they people? I need to know.
Jan, Tim.
Yeah.
Who?
Jan, Tim.
Me.
Sandra.
Me.
Oh, and Lynette.
Lynette. Okay.
Do we have an elections committee at this point? I have someone who emailed Locac, and I want to pass this person's name on to the elections committee, but if there isn't one, I'm not sure. What
we are going to put that together in January, in the very beginning of.
Okay, I'll let this person know.
Okay.
I see a hand from Dave, and Dave.
I know, but we're gonna. I see him, and Dave, don't worry, I'm coming to you. But I just want to finish my business items, and then I will open it up to whoever has a hand. We are going to cancel the December meeting, and that's all I have under business. Any other questions from council on business items?
Will we go back to our regular meetings in January then? Because I have to tell the CSD, they want to know when our meetings are.
You mean on Zoom?
Well, yeah, we will go back to the fourth Thursday in January.
Oh, absolutely. This was just because of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, this was just because of Thanksgiving. Sue?
Yeah, thanks, Trish. I just wanted to say that according to our policies and procedures, in our January meeting, we will be asking you guys who wants to be on the election committee because our duties sort of start the first week in February. So just think about it if anybody wants to.
And I think anybody that's up for election can't be on the
correct.
That's correct. And we decide who is up for elections. Jan, Tim.
Jan, Tim, Sandra, and Lynette.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, poor Dave, his hand has been up. Go ahead, Dave.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
We came in a few minutes late, maybe. Is the code enforcement presentation not happening?
He did not, he sent me an email about an hour before the meeting saying that he had a prior commitment after all. That's the second time he's done that. So.
Yeah, and I sent it out to everyone, so sorry, Dave.
So I will be calling his boss tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? All right, we are adjourned at 8:36.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Happy Turkey Day.
Yes.
Oh, happy Turkey Day.
Happy Native American Day.
That's it.